Hello Hunter friends! I feel like I have to wear this orange hat now every time I do a venison recipe. Anyway, I made one last night. It was so good. Our neighbor Rick next door gave us a roast, a venison roast, and I looked at it and thought, well, we might as well cook it up. Donnie carried it over in a plastic bag, and so I just cut it into fours and I butterflied it out like we did with the Swiss steak, venison Swiss steak, and pounded it out flat and just made like a little sheet of it, and I filled the center with cornbread or stuffing and some wild rice that I had cooked up because I was cooking it up in advance for my stuffing for Thanksgiving. So I put some wild rice in there, and then I had some dried cranberries, and I put those in the microwave with a little bit of apple cider to plump them up because they were dried. Oh, so delicious. I think next time I'll even put more cranberries in there. That was really good, and I diced them up real small so you just got that hint of tartness, and it was so good. If I would have had some mushrooms, I would have for sure fried those up and put them in with the gravy. But anyway, so I just coated the outside with a little bit of flour lightly. I put them in the pan and I fried them and seared them just like I did with the Swiss steak. So it kind of made the crusty bottom. Then I made a gravy and I just slow cooked them in the oven at around 300 for like 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours, and it was delicious. At the same time, I peeled up some sick looking carrots I had in the fridge, put those in the oven at the same time for about an hour and a half, and it was such an easy meal, and oh my gosh, it was so good. I don't eat a lot of venison, or we don't ever really eat a lot of or have venison, so it just seems like I'll just keep doing recipes whenever I get venison and show you guys, because it's a great way to use it up, and I'll tell you, it was just so flavorful. So I encourage you, if you have any, let's see, what was it, a venison roast, this is the way you can make it. So happy cooking to all my hunters, and yeah, keep cooking the Julie way. Hey everyone, so our neighbor gave Donnie a venison roast, I guess this is. So I was thinking, how will I cook something like this? I don't know I think I've put them in the crock pot before, but I thought, well, let's get a little fancy here. It's his birthday, and I think he's going to come over for dinner tonight. So I thought I would butterfly these open, kind of like the Swiss steak, but I'm going to pound them out, and then I'm going to stuff them with some wild rice and some cornbread stuffing. So let's see, I don't like this little silvery thing there. I think I'll cut that out. Anyway, I'm going to pound these out and we'll meet you back here. So on the end piece, there's this little thing that is going through the meat. You just have to like cut that away. And then we'll have two other little pieces that will butterfly, and then we can extend onto the other ones if we want to roll them up bigger. If they're really thick, you can just keep cutting them like that. This is such a lean, tender meat. There we go, we'll pound it out and then we'll stuff it. Okay, we have it all pounded out. Just gonna now season this up and I'll get going on the stuffing. We'll go ground pepper, just a little bit of salt, we'll get that later. And we'll do the onion and granulated powder. Now also I'll be putting some of this aside with some flour in a bowl. Add around 1 or 2 tablespoons of butter to your skillet and brown your butter so you can brush it on your venison. Oh, you have this nice kind of brown butter that I'm going to just put right over. Oh, I can almost hear it sizzle. It's just going to add a little bit of fat to the inside of these, just because they'll be wrapped up and they're so lean. And we will make a gravy for over the top. Okay, this will just add so much more flavor in the inside. Alrighty, we'll let these sit and then we'll get them rolled up after we make our stuffing. Okay, so we melted some butter and some beef broth. We're just going to pour it into the skillet that we had the brown butter in. And all I'm going to do is going to just gradually add in some cornbread stuffing. Now this is just your box cornbread muff stuffing. I mean, if you have the real thing, I say go for the real thing. But this is just on a whim. He just handed Donnie this roast and it's his birthday, so we'll make it work. So just going to add a little bit more broth to this. We're going to let this sit for a minute, and I might taste it after it kind of gets a little softer and see if I need to add any spices. And then we're going to add our wild rice and this together. I'm thinking of adding some cranberries in there. I have some dried. I'm going to just put them in maybe some apple cider and just maybe put them in the microwave and just let them kind of plump back up. That might give a nice flavor to this wild game. So I'll meet you right back. So I have some dried cranberries here. I'm going to just put a few. I'm not going to do a lot. I just want a little bit of a tart taste. I always have to eat them. I'm going to put them in some hot cider, I think. I would put them in like orange juice if I had some, but I don't. I think I'll just put a little bit of combo cup of the apple cider in the microwave. Get it boiling, and then just let these sit in there while I'm getting everything else ready. And when they're this small, they will plump up pretty quick. There we have it. Okay, I'm going to add the wild rice to our cornbread stuffing. It really did not need any more seasonings. I think by having the beef broth in there, when I cooked the wild rice, it added a really nice flavor to it. I'll go get the cranberries. Adding canola oil to the pan. We're going to fry our stuffed steaks. Okay, venison is so lean that I am just going to put a little bit of oil around this. We have our flour mixture here, and I'm just going to lightly put it here. I just want a little crust on it. Just a light dusting. And I'm gonna put it in the pan and get it seared. Okay, I have some oil in the bottom of the pan. The pan is heated, and I'm just going to set this little bundle right in there, and we're going to fry it on both sides. You don't want to overcrowd the pan. Okay, here they are. I'm going to add just a little bit of oil to the top. This is such a lean meat, but let's see here. We've been cooking them there. Oh yeah, see, nice and brown. Okay, they're getting pretty brown. I'm going to add just some butter into the bottom of this, and I'm going to just let them kind of fry in that brown butter, the stuff that we've smeared on the inside of them. But I'm just going to kind of baste them a little bit in this butter after it gets a little brown. And then I'm going to take them out, and then I'm going to add some flour too, and that's what we're going to make our gravy with. But kind of get this all around the pan. So you may think, oh my gosh, that's a lot of butter. It really isn't, because this meat is so lean that this is really the only fat that you have. And I mean, real cream butter is way less, it's not as bad for you as you may think compared to your other options out there. So anyway, this is getting great. I'm going to take them out of the pan, and I'm going to start my gravy. Okay, we have the flour in with our butter, and we're just making that roux. And then I'm going to grab my beef broth, and we're going to add it to this. And then we're going to taste it to see what kind of seasonings we need. But for right now, we're just browning up and cooking down that butter and flour. And you just want to keep cooking it and get all those crusties off the bottom. That's where all your flavor is. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit, and right when that butter starts turning brown and you get that little bit of smoke, that is exactly when you want to add your broth. It's like you're then getting every flavor you can out of your pan. Okay, it's getting close. Okay, it's getting so close. All the bubbles along the side there. Stand back. That's called 3 facials. Us moms, that's our only treatment, and is a gravy steam facial. Okay, so you're just going to cook this down, and all of your lumps are going to come out. Don't forget to taste as you go. Add more beef broth if needed. Place those little bundles of joy back into the gravy and get ready to put into the oven. Now, the lid on it. Okay, we have some carrots here that are on their last leg, but they're a great time to roast them. So I've already peeled them and just cutting off the ends. See, even if they're kind of icky like that on the end, they're still good. The whole other carrot is fine. That's your indication when you look at those and think, oh my gosh, I need to roast some carrots for supper. What can I make? So you don't waste anything. Alrighty, see, perfect carrots. I'm going to keep them kind of large because I have the venison roast in the oven, and that's going to cook for a while. So I'm going to just put these on a baking sheet next to them, and we'll have them for supper. Okay, we're just going to stick these in our roasting pan here. Put some olive oil on there, and we're going to do salt and pepper. Give them a toss. While your bundles are in the oven, peel your potatoes and get them cooking. Once you remove your bundles from the oven, remove them from the pan and add more beef broth to your gravy if it's too thick. Otherwise, it's ready to go. Don't these roasted carrots look delicious?